Good morning, this is the News Wire. Good morning, this is the News Wire. I'm Leah Ubaga. Senior government officials have put a signature to their 2024-2025 Good morning, this is the News Wire. I'm Leah Ubaga. Senior government officials have put a signature to their 2024-2025 performance agreements. Prime Minister Musalia Mudavadi said the performance agreements reflect the government's goals in strengthening public security as well as improving service delivery to the citizens. He said this activity will be held annually to ensure accountability in government as well as the implementation of various government policies.
As we take off now, particularly some of our institutions that have not yet signed their pieces, as we take off now, I think the road ahead is much more clearer.
We're looking forward to an exciting, really half of the year of finishing the implementation of this contract.
Sometimes we have taken even as long as 3 months or 4 months before you sign with the other people, and that is not good practice. So before we take the break, it's important that we execute this so that January kicks off in proper earnest.
Judicial, Odhiambo, popularly known as Laser, now has a number of days to appeal a ruling that saw him sentenced to 50 years in prison for the murder of former model and LGBTQ rights activist Edwin Kiprotich, popularly known as Chiloba. Delivering the verdict, Judge Ruben Nyakundi said the evidence had proved that Judicial was the main perpetrator of the murder.
In Kenya, the middle ground for me, Judicial, for you is to serve a custodial sentence of 50 years imprisonment, taking into account that you have been in demand custody. Those years you have been in custody be removed as a credit for you. The years you have been under 6332, and you now know the final person, Judicial. There is the Court of Appeal. You want to ask them to look at this judgment as a whole in terms of conviction and sentence, so you have a right of appeal. I want to invite you that you place this to the Court of Appeal to look at that, but you serve a custody of 50 years. That's it, to say that I've worked you the memory lane.
Judge Nyakundi also said a medical report showed that the accused was sane and did what he did intentionally.
Being a young man of your age who is not deprived of any mental faculties, your cognitive functions have not been rendered by the medical science, your convictor, your intellectual thinking, your level of accountability has been impaired by any other disease or infirmity as it were.
Last year, January, Chiloba's body was found inside a metal box along the Kipkenya-Kaptinga Road in Kapseret in Uasin Gishu County. The government ban on disco matanga is still in effect, and any person found conducting the popular night morning events will be arrested. Rachonyo East Sub-County Deputy County Commissioner Job Kemei has said the practice is not allowed anywhere in the country. Kemei also put on notice bars and clubs with too much noise, saying this must come to an end whether they have a permit or not for the live band. Elsewhere, speaking in Karabok Primary School, Rachonyo South Sub-County, Police Commander Philemon Saera said Disco Matanga was to blame for the spread of diseases and criminal activities like murder. That's the News Wire. I'm Leah Ubaga.
.5 Spice FM, Kisumu.
The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on Spice FM.
The man who looks at a beautiful girl and doesn't talk to her will end up serving lunch at her wedding.
Aye, City. Do like that. My father has killed a mouse. Will he fail to kill a man?
Ameua panya.
Small mammal, big mammal.
Mtu atamshinda. I mean, I don't answer. What? What
How are we comparison? I mean, you kill a mouse.
What are they saying?
What they're saying is, my father has killed a mouse. Will he fail to kill a man? Name, surprise. Someone's name.
The name surprised you?
No, the name is surprise.
No, what am I saying? I'm from Nigeria, man. I met somebody called I Believe. So your name is I Believe? Yes, my name is I Believe. But that's the short form. I said, excuse me? I said, yes, my name is I Believe. So what's the full name? I believe in the goodness of God.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
It's critical that people pay taxes. But then taxation has to have a limit. When you start overtaxing people beyond certain limit, then this is now we call robbery with violence.
We are all struggling, but we don't show. If you're not doing well, shame on you. But you have to say, I'm broke and I'm struggling. We are not okay until everybody is okay.
We are pretending to have political parties. Why don't we just be honest? And we say, these are the Luyas, these are the Kambas, these are the Kikuyus, and we find ourselves in Kenya.
You know, with politics and leadership, no matter what you do, there will always be a complaint. There will always be the assumption that you're either stealing or you're not doing things right. As a leader, don't fear. If you know you're doing the right thing, you've thought about it, you've got an expert advice, do it, then understand later.
This country, we don't need prayers. Prayers is between you and God. Good governance and thinkers who care about the country and not their stomach.
That's what we need.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
From wherever it is you are listening to us from, this is the Situation Room, and on the roads this morning, Mombasa Road as you approach the CBD, especially around the Airtel area, is busy due to the ongoing construction there, as well as you approach the CBD through Landis Road around the Easy Coach Railways bus station. There is packed up bumper to bumper. Other roads seem to be flowing easily. Wayaki, as you get inbound to the CBD, is moving. There is no traffic now. Jogoo Road is moving, but as you get towards Landis Road is busy. Lusaka Road towards Nyayo Stadium is moving. That is your traffic this morning. Good morning.
This is the Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Okoh, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latiff, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is the Situation Room.
Good morning. How are you? Imagine I'm here.
You know, there used to be an advert for a certain all-encompassing, broad-based tonic called
Government. Oh, sorry.
Good morning. Broad-based. It's called Good Morning Land Tonic. And it used to begin, the advert used to begin, good morning.
Oh, just like that, man.
Yeah,
yes, and then morning Land Tonic, something of that sort. Yes. Yes. One of these things, they advertised and said, once you took it, haki.
Whatever was inside there has come out.
Ni, away.
My friend.
I would recommend that people in government drink that thing.
Broad-based. I see where you're headed.
So that they can, all those things come out. I hear you. Good morning. Good to be here. Good morning, CT.
What do you do?
Dennis. We've never sat in the same room and done anything broadcast.
We've sat in other rooms.
And drank tea.
Drank tea. This is true. I'm trying to put my phone on silent before other things start shouting. Yeah. So how are you doing?
Good.
It's been a minute. Well,
how are you?
Fine. Let me tell you
a story.
I think in my life I've kissed too many frogs. This one now did the business, and I have not been sick like this for a while. And I still have the war wounds to show.
I have no fear.
CT's here.
Abala, good morning, dear Gaba.
Oh, good morning. Where? Yeah, well, good to be here. How have things been?
Things have been good. On my side, I can tell you about the traffic. It's been okay.
Oh, no. Look, a couple of times when I had to be out, and Mombasa Road is the seventh circle of hell.
My friend, from around 9, that thing doesn't move.
I think even from like 6 a.m. because people are starting to find,
It moves. There's traffic, it moves. Because you see, once traffic slows down, then it seems to pile up. But from around 9, that movement is nada.
Gee, man, it's been terrible.
If you want to move, you need to imagine it.
Imagine that you are moving. Okay. Yes. Well, good morning, everybody. Thank you for being here again this morning. Back into Kenya's biggest conversation. This is the Situation Room, and good to be back after a minute. But let me just note that me and Angel Gabriel almost had a meeting, but we'll talk about that later. Getting into the season proper. Let's talk about some of the things that we'll be talking about this morning, getting back into the saddle, even as some of those conversations continue. Look, there's all kinds of things in terms of what's going on with devolution, and Kimani Gonjiri, who is a politician and former Bahati constituency member of parliament, is going to be here at 7 o'clock. We'll be talking about the impact on national unity of devolution and its developments in Kenya. So we've been having the devolution conversation for a minute, and the questions are, has it actually done what it's supposed to do? And how can you get the most out of it? Well, let's get some insights at 7. City, something is tickling you.
No, at 7.
Okay. Well, welcome back. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Alex Munyera is the Chief Disability Services Officer of National Council of People with Disability, and he'll be joining us at 9 o'clock. We'll be talking about 20 years of disability inclusion in Kenya. And then right in the middle of all of that, the Food Security Advisor in the Executive Office of the President is Dr. Dominic Menjo. He'll be with us at 7 o'clock. There's been all this talk about injecting or not to inject. Now, in this case, we're not talking about that inject. We're talking about cattle. Food security update and why livestock vaccination. That conversation we will be having at 8 a.m. And we already thank you for clocking in with us this morning. Let's see what those conversations yield as we get into them this morning, shall we? All right. We'll take a look at weather in just a minute and see what the skies have in store for us. And then we'll come back and say hello to all of you who've clicked in. Our live streams are up, yes, on YouTube and on Facebook. Join us on Radio Garden as well. Karibuni sana. It's a 6:15 o'clock. Kenya's biggest conversation.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Hey kids, light up your festive season with Star Times. Renew your subscription for 2 months and get upgraded to the next high bouquet for 2 months to spend more time hanging out with all your favorite cartoon friends on our amazing kiddie channels. Enjoy more adventure, more action, and more fun on Baby TV, CBeebies, Jim Jam, ST Kids, ST Tunes, Toonami, Cartoon, and Boing. Renew your subscription today and get upgraded to Jingle with the Stars. Download the Star Times On app to enjoy all your favorite kid shows on the go. Star Times. Enjoy digital life.
Now, the weather this morning is in Nairobi, highs of 24 degrees and lows of 15 degrees. Kakamega County shall be experiencing highs of 30 degrees and lows of 15 degrees. Now, in Mombasa, we'll be experiencing highs of 31 degrees and lows of 25 degrees. We go to the lakeside city of Kisumu, who will be experiencing highs of 29 degrees and lows of 20 degrees. Pretty hot in Kisumu. And Nakuru city, highs of 25 degrees and lows of 13 degrees. Across the borders to Kinshasa, Congo, DRC, highs of 32 degrees and lows of 23 degrees. Pretty hot in DRC. And Johannesburg, South Africa, highs of 29 degrees and lows 17 degrees. Now, Paris, France shall be experiencing highs of 8 degrees and lows of 6 degrees. Pretty cold in Paris, as is the case in Dongcheng in China. Highs of 6 degrees and lows of negative 3 degrees. That is your weather. This is our.
Tendawili. Iko jamaa moja alifika Disemba. Sasa hiyo Disemba atasema takula mbuzi. Sasa na kuku. Sasa na nini nyingine na samaki, sivyo? Na nyoyo, sivyo? Huyu mtu ni nani? Ni wewe. Kula hiyo yote, lakini ujue hii mwaka inakuja mimi naenda AU. Sema AU. Sema AU. Sema Addis Ababa. Tupatane Addis Ababa. This is Eric Latiff. Happy holidays. See you next year.
Okay, who's online this morning? Dennis.
And Desmond Ortiz is watching. Good morning, Spice. We as humble Kenyans, we want to see fruits of handshake. Now, Don Sabwe as well says, I completed, but my uncle house is already gone. Sorry, sold. But who is buying the houses now? How are you, City? Ukofiti? Nasalamiyo hapa.
Yes, very well, thank you.
And Lydiah, Asha, and the rest. Ndu is also back. Good morning. And good morning, Spice family. That is African Queen now. Rose Grace tuned from Tamu. Good morning, Tim Kubwa, and thank you for the good job. Now, Sir George Gashuri, good morning, everybody. Wishing you all a happy Tuesday. And Patrick Barista, good morning. I wish Raila all the best in his bid for AUCT. Today is the D-Day, right? Yeah, for the voting AU elections. Yeah. And good morning, Team Spice, tuned in from Westlands. That is asking us to invite Dr. Abraham Ruga. We'll look into that as well. Fatma Haji, Asubuhi Njema, Spice family. And Jacqueline Isanda, Asubuhi Njema, Spice FM fraternity, tuned in to listen to your people. And good morning, my good people. That is Spice Trio. That is George Okoh. Let's see how cases of corruption will be dropped like hotcake by ODPP. Now, the Kikombe checked in from sunny Phuket. Now, yesterday's panel was brilliant. Asante sana. And you call yourself R. Salamu Tumepokea. And my prince says, good morning. Welcome to Mature Intelligence Talk. Good morning, Team Spice. Disco Matanga is not permitted in Homa Bay this December. We underscore that Disco Matanga, that's according to Ongany Malala. And the Kenya Fix says, good job always. Asante sana. And Dennis Kariuki, kama sheria tupo ndani Doha Eco-locked. Cheers to you as well. Now, George Adimo, good morning, wonderful Team Spice FM, listening from Rongo. Rongo is actually my backyard. Thanks, abundance, informative coverage. Salamia watu while Rongo. Now, George Adimo as well, good morning, team. Thanks for abundance. And Margaret Wanjohi as well is tuned in. Anasalamia Kilam too in-house says they are listening from Houston, Texas. And Linus Gitonga, good morning, my team. Welcome back. Ndu karibu sana. That's according to Margaret Wanjohi and Linus Gitonga. Ndu is back. Yeah. Let's celebrate, yeah. And good morning, guys. Welcome back, Ndu. And many other people. Morning from Costa Rica. That is Sandra Sheria and Bwangi Juma. To the haters, AU seat voters ahead of state. Unfortunately, we only have one Kenya. Others are talkers. And every other person who's watching, asanteni sana for tuning in.
Absolutely. Thanks, everybody, for being here every morning. CT, where are we, I think?
We are in the Republic of Angola.
Okay, today's proverb.
Yes, that is today's proverb. That's where it is from. A covered mouth will not have flies.
Okay. So, in other words, close your mouth.
Should I preambulate with, well, Angola is actually on the west central of Africa, and it's bordered by the Atlantic Ocean to the west, Zambia to the east, Namibia to the south, and DRC to the north. And it has a very special feature. It has an enclave province called Cabinda.
What's an enclave province?
What's an enclave? Start with an enclave. What's an enclave? It's a sovereign state that is entirely surrounded by another country.
Like Lesotho?
Like Lesotho. There's one more which you can guess. Or two. Nope. No. Let's move out of Africa.
Oh, we're out of Africa?
Yes.
Like the Vatican City?
Excellent. One more.
Oh, gee.
In Italy.
I know what it is.
Italy has two. The Vatican is one. San Marino.
I wanted to say Monte Carlo, but then I was...
No. General direction. Yes. Okay. Those are the three countries in the world that are sovereign, but they're entirely and completely surrounded. That's what you call an enclave.
Okay.
Sasa Cabinda, Pikoponda, Ndana. Right. The capital of the Republic of Angola is Luanda.
Yeah. There's also Luanda here.
Yes.
Here in Kenya, there are many.
There are many, including Luanda Magiri.
There are very many. Just like Makutano. Very many Makutanos. Okay? Now I can tell you the proverb.
Voila.
Okay? Is that okay?
Yes.
Have I preambled adequately?
Very nice.
Or do you want to know who the president is?
Well, there was a president who's... where is she, by the way? No. The one from before whose daughter was...
Isabella.
Where is she? Did they arrest her?
No.
She's just somewhere enjoying money.
That sort of money is a bit difficult to be arrested.
Kulabata.
Yes. So long as you stay under the water and don't say too much.
Close your mouth.
So
flies
that
will not
enter. Hey, he's called Iao Lorenzo. And there's a vice president called, this is a good name, Esperanza da Costa. Esperanza da Costa. Sounds like the name of one of these telenovelas.
Oh, some Sister Mary da Costa.
Yes,
Behave myself.
A covered mouth will not have flies. Sour?
Sour.
Right.
All right, shall we do a look at the headlines? On the front page of the Standard, I'll go with Standard, you can go with Nation, and then we go on like that, yes?
Yes, indeed.
Ruto talks seal devolution deal. Okay, this is interesting because with the understanding of the English language, we could be looking at a seal here as an ocean animal.
Yeah.
That thing is a mammal, isn't it?
It is a mammal.
It is a mammal.
But actually, Ruto talks seal, as in this case,
his talks have
verb.
Yes, his talks have sealed.
Yes, his talks have sealed devolution deal, and we'll be having a devolution conversation this morning. But this is what it is: President Ruto has directed the transfer of pending devolved functions, including health and agriculture, to counties by the next fiscal year. Addressing governors at State House, Ruto ordered the immediate disbursement of pending funds. I'm sorry, I just find that funny.
Yeah.
Marking a major win for counties pushing for full control of devolved roles. So what's going to happen now is that this money is like the silver bullet. Money disbursed, and immediately counties will have full control of devolved.
Can we discuss this in detail later?
Of course we can.
Yes.
But I was just telling there's a magic thing that has been...
I like what you said.
Yeah.
I just wanted to be hopeful so that we can look at this thing in greater detail later.
And we'll be telling you these things that will be done.
Yes.
Big case yesterday in the courts coming out of Eldoret. 50 years in jail for Chiloba killer. After 2 years search for justice, the High Court has sentenced Jackson Odhiambo to 50 years in prison for the murder of activist Edwin Kipto, alias Chiloba. KRA recovers 549 million shillings from corrupt staff. Now, not corrupt staff outside everywhere else, inside the Kenya Revenue Authority. So they've been able to mop up some 549 million. Perhaps they leave other people alone? Oh, it's okay.
No. That tells us they're working and that they understand that even from among their ranks, there are individuals who have not been straight.
This is true.
They're completely bent.
Youth still face financial exclusion, even though the youth are majority in terms of population, percentage, and in terms of what they should be doing. Financial exclusion in terms of course, credit, unbanked, things like that.
Yet we have Hustler Fund, right?
Hustler Fund is there, but it's not
still excluded.
What's your limit? 500 shillings?
Last I checked.
Yeah,
500
maybe 520. Why health crisis is set to get worse? I saw a news clip on Deutsche Welle this morning, and of course everybody's covering it and saying going into the festive season where things like accidents go up, illnesses unfortunately on the rise. It's not a good time to have the health. Well, it's never a good time to have your health platform in crisis. But now with doctors saying, sorry, pay us, or not just pay us, do what you said you're going to do. You're not going to do that, things are going to get sticky, and that's what it looks like right now. Okay, what do you have before we look into them in detail?
Yeah, let's look at the Daily Nation. Now, smack in the middle of the Daily Nation, 515 officials move in war against graft. Now, that is based on the story that we read earlier. Now, senior procurement officers in government have been transferred in the latest shake-up, seeking to break up tender cartels and deal with rampant corruption in public service, following a trend that saw the previous administration subject the civil servants to lie detector tests. Yep, that's just another department within the government talking about corruption. And 19,000 tutors to get high pay in TSC promotions. Now, the Teacher Service Commission says the positions range from chief principals, senior principals, deputy principals, head teachers, deputy head teachers, as well as senior teacher positions. Finally, promotions we're seeing happening according to the demands by the teachers as well. And revealed NIS role in Raila AUC bid. The National Intelligence Service is working behind the scenes to steer former Prime Minister Raila Odinga's campaign for the chairmanship of the African Union Commission, underscoring President William Ruto's intent to ensure the success of Mr. Odinga's bid for the continental post. Begs the question, how will NIS ensure that other heads of state from other nations vote for Raila Odinga? A big question there. And win for governors as Ruto orders transfer of funds for devolved functions. That is a story we shall be handling a little bit later. And Gachagua to Nyoro. Declare your stand. Ousted Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has warned Kiharu MP Ndindi Nyoro to cease fence sitting on the political development in Mount Kenya. Either you are inside
or outside.
Surely, let me ask the question. The term fence and the physical posture that one takes on it, as in sitting or standing on it.
Be quite uncomfortable if you ask me, but anyway, please carry on.
No, you're right in saying what you're saying, but are you not allowed to determine what you want to do with the fence?
Is it not my bottom?
Yes.
Can I not? If I want to sit on the fence, can I not?
I cannot sit on it. If I want to stand on it, can I not stand on it? If I want to stand by it, can I not stand by it? Or do I need someone to be telling me how I should conduct myself when I'm near a fence?
Human nature dictates that you should take a position.
Yes.
And someone has taken a position.
What? No.
I am undecided. It's a position.
I have taken a position to sit on the fence.
Yes.
I'm neither inside or outside.
It is a position.
It's actually a position.
Yeah.
We even have it at the international level. It's called non-aligned. Sorry.
Excuse me. City. Okay. While you're at it, how about you tell us what's in the Star?
Newspaper. Star is an interesting paper. Today is that day when you do not have to pay for this paper. Let me say it again. Today is the day you don't have to pay for the Star. So if you want to read the news, get the Star. Right. Top right-hand corner in Still green.
Well done.
Justice served. Brute who killed sister fails to quash death sentence. This story is on page 3.
Brute who did what?
He killed his sister. A man hacked his sister to death using a machete.
For goodness sake.
Yep.
What the heck? Okay.
The Court of Appeal sitting in Kisumu said the evidence was ironclad. The gentleman who was convicted is called Henry Okoh. He committed the murder in Kanyameda village in the lakeside city. Kanyamata, just on the outskirts of Kisumu town, okay? The evidence against him shows that it was something he intended to do, okay? So that sentence has done what? Stayed. World Bank loans double those of China. World Bank loans to Kenya have more than doubled those owed to China, making it the country's biggest lender. A new report has revealed. The report by AfriCog shows that as of June 2023, World Bank loans were to the tune of 1.57 trillion shillings compared to China's 880 million. Okay? World Bank. Well done, World Bank. Well done. You've overtaken China. Divisive tribal politics at center of 2027 battle. Okay? This is what they say. Marginalization. This is something we talk about a great deal in Kenya, about how tribalism does this and tribalism does that, etc., 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 etc. And when you get to a tribe, which is now when you're in a county, then it's this clan, that, and this clan, that. Yes. Representation. Report fingers legal aid office as insufficient. Why? If you have a court case and need free legal aid from the state, the likelihood that the process would drag and you will not get quality representation is high. Meaning, the free aid that was spoken of, there was the talk of the public defender.
Yeah.
Let me underline talk.
Still talk.
Yes, let me surround it in red and give it green stars.
Look, I think the folks who started this conversation in the first place, I think it needs to be revived, kept alive until something is actually done. The number of people, for example, who are on remand today for lack of representation. And this representation comes about as a result of not being able to afford it. The state actually has a duty to make sure that there is representation across. You cannot have justice served even if the person is the defendant. You cannot have
people who are rotting,
for goodness sake,
in remand. It should be jail, but it's in remand. It's supposed to be a temporary.
It is temporary.
But when you've been there for 10 years, 10 years temporary.
Come on.
Right. Bang in the middle of the paper.
Well done.
2027. ODM sends mixed signal, says it will field presidential candidate. This statement's a bit of a contradiction, isn't it? Yeah, because if you say it's mixed signals, then it will field a presidential candidate. That's not mixed, is it?
It is definite.
Not. It's clear. It's like sitting on the fence.
Yes. So it would have been mixed if on the one hand they had said they're not sending, then on the other hand they've said they're sending. That is mixed.
That's mixed.
But let's take it that this is a reporting issue and leave it at that, all right?
Always blame the journal.
Yeah, of course. Why Uhuru 2 deal may upset Raila Foundation? Odinga influence may be diminishing as president receives Uhuru backing. Okay.
The operative word is may.
Not sure.
Yeah, this is just this is some headline grabbing stuff. So that and then the picture, the former president Uhuru Kenyatta and William Ruto at Ishaweri in Gatundu, Kiambu County. Yes, this is the two having a chit chat, chinwag, blah blah blah, etc., etc., etc. Yes, that is what is in the headlines of the Star.
We're going to take a break and take a look at what's happening with traffic shortly. And I'll just tell you real quick, on the front page of the Business Daily, Inside Ruto plans to spend 500 billion shilling housing levy. Cash to build 363,860 affordable homes in 10 years. The fella still thinks he's going to be around for that time. Okay. State targeted 2.5 million units over the next decade. Foreign state jobs halve as demand for Kenyans fall. KRA remains alert to ensure that any form of tax evasion is detected, disrupted, and deterred. Including, finding out their own folks.
I beg to ask the question. Foreign state jobs halve as demands for Kenyans fall. Who are we taking outside?
I don't know. Is this not the whole bid where Kenyans are being able to get jobs outside?
Well, we're faring 2,500 every day.
But you must ask, which jobs are we talking about here? Okay, well, let's take a look at traffic and see what's happening with that, and then we'll come back and look at some of these stories in more detail. It's 25 minutes to the top of the hour, Kenya's biggest conversation. Wherever you're joining us this morning, we continue with that news and info, getting into parts of the morning today. We'll be back shortly after this.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
A holiday in South Africa sounds something like this.
The brunch with girls, the sport,
the paragliding,
the bucket list,
the vibe, the company,
everything,
the energy.
No, for real, babe.
And we made new friends.
Yes.
That's nice.
Yeah. And cheers to sweet escapes.
Mm-hmm. The sweetest one.
Your adventure in South Africa is just around the corner.
At this hour, every single day, there's hardly any traffic anywhere, except on Mombasa Road, where you will find traffic slowing down. When traffic moves speedily, there is no jam and there is no clog up. But on Mombasa Road, because there is some work going on, you will find traffic because traffic has to slow down on Mombasa Road. On Haile Selassie, at this particular time, again, there's a slowing down because there's also a project there, a similar project, well, it's not really similar, but it's a project. It's been, I was about to say it's been walled off. It hasn't been walled off. It has been corrugated, sheeted around. It's been fenced with corrugated sheet.
There we go. That sounds a lot better.
Yes. Traffic, there is a slight build-up because it's next to that roundabout. It's not really a roundabout. There's a bit of a roundabout. There's a bit of diversion. It's a mix of things, but there's a bit of a snarl up there. Thank you so much. And traffic will continue building there. When you get around the middle of the day, you will not be able to move at all. Anyway, that's for the future. Right now, drive safely. If you are on Thika Road, hardly any traffic. If you're on Wayaki Road, hardly any traffic. Wangari Maathai, hardly any traffic. There's hardly any traffic anywhere. But within the hour, when I tell you there will be smidgens of traffic here and there. Now, drive carefully. Please, the holiday seasons have started. Your vehicle is not a plane. Drive carefully.
The ultimate shopping experience, bringing Loopers the best deals and offers with up to 5,000 Kenya shillings extra cashback when you pay with Loop at participating stores. Download Loop today on Play Store or App Store for all your festive deals and offers. It's not an app, it's a lifestyle. Why wait? Loop it.
All right, so coming to 22 minutes to the top of the hour, let's look at some of these stories in detail. We'll save that conversation on devolution for our 7 o'clock guest. I want to look at this coming through the courts where in 2 years, really, and this is actually very, very quick for courts. That is 50 years in jail for Chiloba killer. I mean, it was one of the murders that took the nation by storm in just how terrible it was. It's been 2 years of searching for justice for Edwin Kipto, alias Chiloba, an LGBTQ activist who was brutally murdered. His mutilated body stashed in a metal box and dumped in Kapseret on the outskirts of Eldoret town. Last evening, the High Court in Eldoret sentenced Jackton Odhiambo to 50 years in prison after finding him guilty of Chiloba's murder. The slain activist's family had sought a death sentence, but the court handed Odhiambo 25 to half a century in prison for the murder of his alleged lover. Justice Ruben Yakundi described Chiloba's murder as an aggravated homicide, but noted that although the death sentence which Chiloba's family requested is still unlawful, its implementation is still at large. He said he could not issue the death penalty in vain, while calling the discussion to solve the debate on the place of the death penalty in view of the upsurge of killing and even femicide in the country. He said, and I quote, "Having weighed many factors in this matter, there is no single mitigating factor in your favor, Jackton. Between the death penalty and the life sentence, the middle ground for me is to sentence you to serve a custodial sentence of 50 years in prison, taking into the account the time spent in custody." The judge noted in his judgment that Odhiambo, who was the last person seen with the deceased on the eve of December 31st, 2022, at a local club in Eldoret, premeditated the murder and bore malice afterthought. He said again, and I quote, "I find no psychological, psychiatric or pathological reason as to why a friend would end the life of his friend in that manner. I find that the convict was not remorseful in any way. The young age of the convict cannot be used as a sufficient mitigating factor in this case. The late Chiloba's decomposing body was discovered stashed in a metallic box along the busy Kipkenyo-Kaptinga Road in Kapseret Sub-County, Uasin Gishu County, on the 3rd of January 2023. According to court information, Odhiambo is said to have committed the murder between December 31st, 2022 and January 3rd, 2023 at Noble Breeze Apartments in Chebisas area in Moiben. The judge further described Odhiambo's act as full of hatred, holding that he planned and executed the murder of his friend, who was his roommate and trusted friend, who some of the witnesses revealed was also his lover. Nyakundi stated that circumstantial, scientific and direct evidence pointed at Odhiambo as the perpetrator of Chiloba's gruesome murder. The family, of course, was asking for life imprisonment or the death penalty, but the judge said, look, because that whole thing is in a cloud of debate right now, we're not going to use it until it is very sure. Is Kenya going to abolish it? Do we see just cause? Does it go against human rights, as people have said? And we can see that there's a lot more calls for it because there's a lot more murders that are happening in the public eye. But the judge said, right now we can't. But it is clear to us as the court that you did this. And so what we can do is sentence you to 50 years in prison. And if time served is 2 years, we're looking at around about 48 years. He will be out just 5 years shy of his 80th birthday. That's what it looks like.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yep. This is what it's a sentence that is given to somebody who has killed one person. What about those who are responsible for the deaths of many?
I know where you're going with this.
Yes, you do know where I'm going with it. I've gone there before.
Carry on.
Because anytime you have monies that are intended for the public good being diverted and it ending up in the hands and the pockets, in the confines of an individual, then the purposes for which that money was intended is not fulfilled. A good portion of the money we speak of is for health purposes. And when people cannot get treatment because the money that was intended to serve that particular purpose is not there, you who has taken the money, you've killed those people.
Yes, you have.
True.
So, what do we do with people who have done just that? Because we have very many people in this country who are responsible directly for the deaths of very many citizens in this country because of their actions.
To answer that question, you're going to have to go back to my eternal question, which is, what value do we actually place on human life? And when we talk about that, it's not just about life and death, because in living every day and your experience, how you live, how you access medical care, how you access infrastructure, how you access things that you should because you have a right to as a citizen of any country is very important. So what value do you place on it? Do you diminish value? Every day you don't do what you're supposed to do to make sure that the lives of somebody gets better? Yes, you do. So on this totem pole of numbers from 1 to 10, what value do you place there? That's how you can answer that question.
I think when you ask that question, and if it's directed to those who bear the responsibility of making sure that things move, the value they place on human life only belongs to mine. It's all about them, not the rest of you guys can sort yourselves out. So if I'm in this public office, I'm supposed to ensure that Assetto can access medical care. No, Assetto will find a way. I will make sure that my own and my family is doing better. But as for Ndu and Assetto, you can go figure it out yourself.
Yep.
Yeah. Sorry. And it's if we look at there's a quote here that has been given by the family. The generation of my late uncle Philip was ended by the heinous murder of Kiprotich, who was the only son in his family. The only mistake Kiprotich made was loving Odhiambo. The same applies to the question that City has asked. The only mistake that we as Kenyans keep doing is trusting our lives in the hands of people who do not care. We love them, but do they love us back?
It's a good one. What story do you have?
Well, there's a story in the Daily Nation as well. It was still a matter in the courts. And if you go to page 2 now, judge rules 16-year-old girl spending night with a man is not proof of defilement. Now, a mere confession by an underage girl that she spent the night or had intercourse with the man is not enough to jail that man for defilement. That's according to the judge. Now, the controversial decision came out of a case in which a 16-year-old girl was found by a police officer being escorted home by a man at 4 a.m. Now, according to the judge, this matter... the judge also relied on previous High Court judgments which said that the defiled party has to describe the ordeal as graphically as possible to convince the court. However, the ruling has sparked criticism among children and women rights activist Evelyn Opondo, a lawyer who is the Africa Regional Director of International Center for Research on Women, said, is the judge implying that this is the kind of further evidence that would have made the complainant more believable?
Look, it's going to sound maybe almost sinful coming from me, but I tend to get to that place whereby you say yes. That question, that does the judge imply that a little bit of explanation by the aggrieved party needs to come into play to convince everybody that this was not just an act of defilement? Yes. You know why? Where we are today with all kinds of things that are happening, you do not actually know. Sadly, you don't know. When you talk about consent, and we know that within the law, remember Justice Odunga and his issues, and he said, you know what,
he raised this issue
over and over and again. He says, okay, fine. We are saying that the age of consent is 18 and above, right? But then what then, how do you actually define consent?
And let me just go to that. I wanted you to get there because a part of the girl's testimony before the court was, I went to his house. It is in a plot. I found him there. It is house 9. House 9. It is one room. I spent there on that day. We had sex. We did not use protection. That was her testimony.
There you go.
In court.
Did he lure you? Did he force you? Yes, he bears responsibility. This is not my opinion. This is what the court says. This is what the legal system says. You bear responsibility for knowing the age of this child. That you touch somebody who is below the age of 18, you have defiled them. It's cut and dry. But Odunga asks those questions and says, hold on a minute. Shouldn't we look at this thing a little bit more? Shouldn't we look at it some more and ask ourselves, okay, so in the event that, yes, a 16-year-old girl who could easily pass for a 25-year-old, for example, takes herself to, as she has admitted, takes herself to the home of this gentleman, then does he bear the responsibility for saying, no, you're 16, go home? And this is what the judge is saying, that just because she was in his presence doesn't mean that we're going to say this man is guilty of defilement. But it's got to change now.
You know, we had the case we looked at here a while back of a lady who had been jailed for having sexual relations with a young man who was 17.
Yeah.
I said, this guy looks like he's above 20. I mean, it's not as though I asked him for his age, but she was in jail.
Yeah, he used to ride a
motorbike.
Motorbike,
yes, exactly. Yes. And she was jailed. Not she got a custodial sentence, she was jailed. Whenever you look at the nitty-gritties of cases of this nature, then the details of what it is that perhaps we need to consider in making the decisions come to the fore. We also had, last week and the week before, a man who had been in jail for 19 years.
Yeah.
And it was on the testimony of his children.
Yeah.
The daughter, who was among he has 2 daughters.
The star witnesses, yeah.
She came up and said, no, this was contrived.
I was coached, yes.
I was coached, and I was told to say this, to say that, to say the other. Now, you can question and say, we don't know the truth lies. But the same person says, I was a child. I was told this, I was told this. It did not happen.
There you go.
But someone would want to ask, fine. This is the admission of this child that I went there, the entire description of it.
Mm-hmm.
But where does your responsibility as an adult in being able to say, no, I know you're a child.
I know you're a 16-year-old.
Yes.
That's why I think there have been blanket judgments historically. That the responsibility lies on the adult.
The responsibility bearer is the adult.
Is the adult in that situation. That, look, it doesn't matter. Whatever. She may have brought herself, and this is now the other side of it. She may have brought herself. You would have been tempted to within an inch of your life, literally. But you say, you know what? You're a child. I'm not going to do this. And that is why when such a thing is taken by force on a child, it bears a capital offense.
Mm-hmm.
That's why. Because you know they're a child, you take it by force, you have committed a criminal offense. In this case, a capital one, right? But then now what this judge is saying is that, okay, hold on. If there's consent, just because she's that age doesn't mean this individual is guilty.
You remember, there are countries where the age of consent is 16, huh?
Some actually want to lower it to 9.
No,
okay, that's pushing.
no, there's something wrong.
That's
There's something wrong with this.
Iraq
There's something absolutely wrong with these people.
Yeah.
9, they're still in leading strings, for goodness.
No, there's something absolutely off. Yes, completely. There's no mitigating this or the other.
Yeah.
Anyway, this topic gets emotive because of factors related to it, and the two of you have alluded to it. When you look at the molestation of children, taking advantage of a child, this is a young person who still is too mature. You are already mature.
Yeah.
In that case, is against you from the get-go.
Yes.
Yes.
Because one would assume, because what I've been told, that by the time a 16-year-old, 17, 18, your mental capacity is only developed at 25.
Yes.
That's
25
what
is when now it's more or less stabilized. 25. So in between.
The person who is above 25 is the one who ought to be thinking.
Yeah, but those ones who set the age limit at 9.
I think they also...
No,
their 25 has not reached.
That doesn't reach that. Then they're probably at 3.
Yes. Yeah. CT, what do you have?
What I have is information that I have no wish to talk about.
Okay.
I don't want to discuss politics.
In the meantime, let me just read.
Please go ahead.
That is Taifa Leo. Ruto, tumemalizana. Tulikuonya dhidi ya kutusaliti lakini hukutusikiliza. Umechimba shimo mlima Kenya na sasa lazima uishi kwenye shimo hilo kwa sababu sasa hatukutaki eneo hili.
Yeah.
That is impeached Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua.
Oh no, guns blazing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I didn't want to talk about politics, but I have to. The Standard, back in the middle of this particular paper, there was Ruto Talks seal devolution deal. Unfortunately, when I read this, I had to go and look at some fact finding from Mzalendo to just understand, okay, if we are to believe the promises that are being made now, should we not look at promises that were made prior to this one and what became of those promises? And just a slight overview, the Kenya Kwanza government outlined 15 broad-based thematic areas. 50 broad, okay?
Not based.
No, just broad-based. Then there was, it was in stages. There was the first 100 days, short-term, medium-term, long-term. That's how they looked at the promises, okay? And the total number of promises were 281 for the 100 days. The number that have been honored is 14, and that's 4.98%. And this particular government has 1,043 days left on its term. 115 of these projects of the 281 have not started. Ongoing is 120. 10 have been broken, and 14 have been completed. Broken 22, completed 14.
I beg your pardon, how many were there in total?
281.
Okay.
Okay? So honored 14%. We have 1,043 days left for this government. The projects that have not been started are 115, ongoing 120, stalled 10, broken 22, completed 14. Okay? In number. So those are just the stats that have been given to us by the Mzalendo Promise Tracker. So now we have new promises. Even
they finished the other ones first.
Yes. You see, the ongoing gives you hope.
Oh, okay.
The 120. Not started 115.
Failed 20.
So now we've added to this particular number.
As opposed to just promising and finishing the other ones.
The Deputy President was making promises the other day, talking about how things will get better. Now, so are we to understand that what he means is things will get much, much worse now before they actually get better?
It's like antibiotics.
Yes.